Got it. Good evening, everyone. Because they used the reflector right up to the last second here tonight. Hi, everybody. This is Dick, WB2JPQ. I'll be one of your net controllers for the East Coast Reflector Tech Net number 670. Our good friend Scott, W2BLT, is here. Kevin, KE7K, will be along a little bit later. And, of course, KE8VKY, Miss Vicky, is on the log as usual. Last week there was a gentleman that asked a question about auxiliary power, and I said I would use that question tonight. Would he be on board tonight? The gentleman that asked the question last week about auxiliary power? I'm going to use that question anyway. I don't know who he was that asked the question, but his question was, do you have auxiliary power in your shack? And if so, how often do you test it? Maybe he'll be along later. So I said it last week I would use that question, but I wrote down the question, but I never wrote down his call sign. So hopefully when he pops up here tonight, there comes in, he will own up to the question. As always, we start out with our system team. See if there's any reports from our team members. Then we go to silent keys, see if we have any silent keys. Joe is here tonight, KD2TFB with Celebrity of the Week. And we go to new system users. If you've never been into this net before, we get you up at the top and recognize you. Then we go to the meat and potatoes, as I like to say, to stations with amateur radio related questions. So that's kind of the lineup for tonight. We're going to start when we do the general check-ins. It's 1 through 0. So we're back around another time to start with the first call district or stations with a 1 in their call sign and right on down the list tonight. You can follow along on the log if you like. For those of you that are new, go to the website, eastcoastreflector.com. Go to Nets. There's a box that you can click to follow along on the TechNet log. With that being said, do any of our team members have anything that they would like to report tonight? Hearing anything, I will report that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock right here on the East Coast Reflector is open mic night. And I'm sure Mark and Jason got a couple of new people that come in here and split the hour. So open mic night at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. And on Thursday night is Ask the Elmer, Be an Elmer. This is the third Thursday of the month. Come join us in our Zoom room at 8 o'clock. Ask an Elmer, Be an Elmer. Great place to ask questions. Great place to learn. So come join us, 8 o'clock East Coast time on Thursday. Last call. Anybody else, the team members, have anything that they would like to report? Hearing nothing, let me even look here. No silent keys came up on out of our database this week. But I have an apology to make. Last week I forgot to ask if there was anybody in the East Coast Reflector family from our audience that they would like to have remembered, and I didn't ask that last week, and I kind of got caught, and somebody said, hey, you didn't ask the question. So I'll ask it tonight. Does anyone have anyone that they would like to have remembered here tonight on the East Coast Reflector, the silent key from the East Coast Reflector family? Well, hearing nothing, the one that one of our users was going to bring up last week, and I didn't give him the opportunity, was the tragic death of N4TNO Trip that got electrocuted on July 4th. I neglected to mention him last week, and it was brought up to me. So at this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence. We'll remember Trip N4NTO that passed away July 4th from electrocution. Thank you, everybody. Just, we have to be careful. You know, he was electrocuted, and terrible tragedy, but it's so easy, so careful. You got to be so careful. So easy to get a wire, an antenna, or something into a power line, and it ends in death. We don't hear about it too often, but it certainly does happen. Joe is here tonight. Joe, what do you got for us on the Celebrity of the Week? KD2TFB, it's all yours, Joe. And this is Dick, WB2JPQ. Good evening, everybody all along the net. Oh, I don't know, it might be afternoon or morning where you are if you're like over one of the digital links, Echolink or something like that. I don't have any really auxiliary power. I have some UPSs for the computer and networking equipment. So that's only partial backup, only the IT stuff, not the radios. Although vast majority of what I have now for radios are handheld, so they run on battery to begin with. Dick mentioned open mic night. Yes, I will be there at 8:30 tomorrow night to entertain y'all. My first time doing it, so this ought to be interesting. And let's see. Get this window aside here. There we go. As with many of these, the source was the English language Wikipedia and therefore is subject to the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike 4.0 license. Bert was born on June 20th, 1924 in Latrell, Tennessee. His parents divorced when he was 6 years old, after which he was raised by his mother. He was the youngest of 3 boys and a girl, something I can relate to, except with the opposite genders. He started out on the ukulele, later moving to the fiddle, but he made a swap with his brother. He was 9, an old pistol, and some chores for a guitar. He stated in his 1974 autobiography, "We were so poor, and everybody around us was so poor, that it was the 40s before anyone even knew there had been a depression." I want to time out the repeater, so I'll be right back. Bert was forced to relocate to Fortson, Georgia, to live with his father because of a critical asthma condition. Because of his illness, he was forced to sleep in a straight-back chair to breathe comfortably. On those nights, he played his guitar until he fell asleep holding it, a habit that lasted his whole life. He became an accomplished guitarist while he was in high school. He used the restroom in the school to practice because it had good acoustics, by which I think the Wikipedia author meant that Bert could hear himself well. His first guitar had a nail for a nut and was so bowed that only the first few frets could be used. He later purchased a semi-acoustic electric guitar and amp, but he had to travel many miles to find an electrical outlet since his home didn't have electricity. Paul Harvey would sometimes introduce his subject of the rest of the story by their middle name to keep people guessing. As you probably know, I like to structure the Celebrity Call Sign of the Week like Paul Harvey's feature. And similar to recently, I've done the same this week. This week's Celebrity Call Sign of the Week is a twofer. Whiskey Alpha 4, Charlie Zulu Delta, or WA4CZD, which he was issued first, and later switched to Whiskey 4 Charlie Golf Papa, or W4
CGP belonging to Chester Burton Atkins. Yeah, Chet Atkins. He used to say that CGP in his call sign stood for Certified Guitar Picker. He continued performing into the 1990s, but his health declined after he was diagnosed with colon cancer in 1996. He became a silent key at the end of June 2001 in his home in Nashville, Tennessee, at the age of 77. Kilo Delta 2, Tango Fox Bravo, back to net control.
Wow, that was one I could guess tonight, Joe. For some reason, I knew the answer to that. I recognized the restroom thing. I must have read that or heard that somewhere. Thank you for doing that. It's always interesting. We had 70 new users last week that come across. 70 new call signs went into our database, with 39 of them having email addresses. So we always encourage everyone to try to get the current email address on your QRZ.com page, especially the new people, the new amateurs. Just take a minute, go to QRZ.com and put a current email address in. Our system can send you a welcome letter and others can get a hold of you. Let me see if Kevin, VE3BZ, has anything from the swapping shop tonight. Kevin? Hope I didn't catch you off guard here.
No, not at all. Good evening, Dick, and good evening, everyone. This is Kevin, VE3BZ, with this week's Swap and Shop. I have two listings. First one is from Henry, WB4IVB in Corbin, Kentucky. Henry has some Motorola CM200 radios for sale. They are UHF 438 to 470 megahertz, 25 watts. 16-pin connector in the back, and they are great for all-star nodes or GMRS repeaters or whatever. Asking $145 each, and that includes shipping, and PayPal is accepted. And you can pair these with the rim light from Repeater Builder to build a fairly inexpensive all-star node. And Henry also makes cables for the CM200s for any interfacing requirements. Just send him an email with any questions. And speaking of that, his email is wb4ivb@hotmail.com. And let me reset. And the next listing is from I forgot. I think it's Dave. I had the name here, but anyway, WA2KJC has a Ramsey COM3 service monitor in working condition. Prefers local pickup. That way the buyer can test it before actually purchasing it. And he's open to offers on that. And Dave's email is wa2kjc@gmail.com. And that is it for this week. If you have anything for sale, trade, or want, just go to eastcoastreflector.com. Under Contact ECR, click on SwapNet Submissions, or just email me at ve3bz@rogers.com. And my answer to tonight's question is no, not yet, for emergency power. All right, back to you, Dick, VE3BZ.
Well, thank you, Kevin. And once again, those CM200s make excellent link radios. I mentioned that last week. I know some of you little briefcase repeaters that I built up to take down to Orlando. That's exactly what those are. The repeaters made out of two of those CM220s. They work excellent. Run about 15-20 watts all day long. All right, let's move along to new users. If you've never checked into this net before, I'd like to get you up at the top of the net, let you say hello. So new users users to this net. Your call signs twice, please. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
Whiskey 8, Bravo Lima Tango. This is Kilo Romeo 4, Bravo Lima Tango. Again, Kilo Romeo 4, Bravo Echo Bravo, first time on the net. Just in and out. Good evening to everybody, and I hope that everybody stay wet and super dry.
Oh, I'm not going to let you get away that easy. KR4BEB. KR4BEB, that looks like a new call sign. Why don't you at least come in, say hello, tell everybody where you're from, and answer our questions. And I do have any auxiliary power in your ham shack or in your house.
Currently, I work with on a mobile. Everything that I have, especially, is running in my car. I do have a handheld, as well the antenna on the car. So I currently always driving, so I don't use. Technically my car is the auxiliary power. So yes, for your question. And just saying hi all the way down from Satsuma, connected through Echolink.
All right, I see you coming in through KM4CTB. You must be connected there to Echolink, which is fine. One of our Echolink gateway, our conference bridge is ECR 9050 if you want to connect direct to us. If that repeater doesn't happen to be connected, but ECR 9050 is our gateway. Well, thanks for the KR4. You're relatively new ham, so enjoy. Thank you for answering the question. What else do we have? New stations that have never checked into this net before.
Kilo Delta 2,
Echo Golf Oscar, Kilo Foxtrot 8, Echo Golf Oscar, Chris, Perry, Ohio.
Alpha Kilo.
And we got Brian in there, KD2KAK. Good evening, Brian. New to the net, Brian is. And Brian, I see you do not have a current email address on your QRZ.com page, so a little homework assignment. Go and put an email address on so our system can send you a welcome letter. Good evening, Brian. And do you have any auxiliary power in your shack or home?
This is Kilo Delta 2, Kilo Alpha Kilo, and yes, so my all my radios have a 100 amp hour backup. My laptops have backup, and I have a backup to that, which is a whole house generator that works on natural gas. So I am covered in a couple different ways, including solar. So proper peace planning, I guess. This is Kilo Delta 2. Alpha Kilo, back to net control.
Well, thank you, Brian. We got you down for a yes. And my apologies to David in Texas, W8BLT. I saw the BLT, never looked at the 8, and I thought it was Scott. He just said, don't forget W8BLT. Big as life, there it is. So, David, good evening to you, W8BLT. He got mad and left. W8BLT. David, are you still with us? My apologies. I'll have to send him a note. Thank you, Scott, for reminding me. I saw the BLT and I just went in one ear and out the other, I guess. Oh, Chris, Perrysburg, Ohio. What's going on with you? KF8EGO. Do you have any emergency power in your house?
Hey, thanks for having me on the net. First time here, Chris, KF8EGO. I do keep a couple batteries charged in my ham shack that mainly I'll use if I am taking my stuff up north with me to the lake. But in the truck, I run my mobile radio off of auxiliary power. So I guess my answer would be a yes, and back to the net. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Another yes. What do I have? New users to this net. If you've never checked into this net, please give us your call sign twice.
Victor Kilo 3, Tango Victor.
Well, good evening, Mel. VK3 TV. It's all yours. What is it there? Mid-morning?
Yeah, good morning all from Australia. It's 10:21 Wednesday morning here. And as far as the question's concerned, I don't actually have auxiliary power, but I do have HF, VHF and UHF radios that I can run on 12 volts. And I've always got a spare battery or a battery charged up, which I also use in parks with my G90. Back to the group, back to the net.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening and mid-morning to you as well. What else do we have? Stations that would like to get in that have never been onto this net before. You might be on the East Coast Reflector, you might have been on the Morning Grow and other nets, but that doesn't count. We're just looking for new users to this net.
Number 2,
November 5,
Delta Yankee.
And 5 RLN.
Let me clarify. I don't think I've ever checked into the net, and I guess I'll find out. I have checked in with the Morning Brew crew many times, but I don't think I ever get on here at night.
We got two that popped in. You want to mute up there, Joe, please? Got N5RLN. Bob from Houston, Texas, and you have been in here before. You're coming up red. And also Don. And 2LDY. Both of you have been on this net before, so I'll ask Don to call in when we get to the second call district, and Bob, of course, in number 5. Thanks anyway. If you don't know, that's why we keep a log so we can tell you. So, last call for stations that have never been into this net before. If you've never checked in or you're in the doubts, give us your call sign and we'll tell you. One more time after that little interruption there. Note came in this morning, giving us a little problem. Out of Reno. Take it off if it keeps up. VK3KEZ. Brian, we got you coming up in red too, so it looks like you've been in here, Brian. I didn't even hear you call in, but VK3KEZ. I guess you have checked in here before, so I'll have to ask you to come in with the 3s. Last call for new stations. If you think you've never been into Give me your call sign.
Kilo Delta 5, Sierra Yankee India, KD5 SYI.
Well, there's a new one. Good evening to Christopher in Andrews, Texas. KD5SYI. Good evening to you, Christopher. You go by Chris. We can put anything into our database here that you like. First-time caller, new to the system. Good evening to you. And do you have any auxiliary power in your shack? And if so, do you test it? How often do you test it?
Good evening, everybody on the net. First-time caller, obviously. Yes, I do have auxiliary power. I'm a fan of the Bio-Inno batteries, and then I've also got power options as well. So I can do that on HF and VHF, UHF, and all of the above. Normally don't check in, school teacher, and I know y'all have the morning net. I just wanted to check in on a clear note that I had set up. Anyways, thanks for having me. KD5, SYI, Andrews, Texas.
All right, Chris. Sounds great. Note sounds good. Before we go to stations with questions, let me go up and see if David, W8BLT, is still with us. Came back. David, are you with us, W8BLT? Well, hearing nothing. Send David a note. Apologize to him for not recognizing him. How about stations with amateur radio related questions? If you have an amateur related question, this is the place to air it. We'll do our best to answer it. We found that some of our questions that require long answers, it's best to do in Ask an Elmer, Be an Elmer room on Thursday, first and third Thursday. But stations with amateur radio related questions, your call sign twice. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
N8OAY, November 8, Oscar Alpha Yankee. W4FWN, W4 Foxtrot, Whiskey, November. Quebec 4, Golf Whiskey Oscar, KQ4, GWO.
Somebody's got everybody muted in the Zoom room. Somebody with power needs to release the audio. Good evening to William, KQ4GWO, Wake Forest, North Carolina. Our friend Dan, W4FWN, from Sanford, Florida. Dan, every time I see you come up, I think, oh boy, what isn't working tonight? And Dave from Huntsville, Alabama, N8OAY. Dave, you're first up. What question do you have for us tonight? And a question for you is, do you have auxiliary power in your shack or home? And if so, how often do you test it?
All I have is a small shirt pocket size power bank, like used for cell phones and that sort of thing. I do test it once every couple months or so. Next spring I'll try to get a solar-powered generator when Alabama has their sales tax holiday for storm preps. My question is, I've acquired a sizable collection of HT batteries that all have USB-C charging ports. I'm wondering if it's safe to use the same chargers on these HT batteries as I use for my phone and tablet and stuff like that that are power delivery. I've got one that puts out 65 watts. It works with the laptop and my tablet and my phone. I wonder if that's also safe to use on HT batteries, N808Y.
Certainly put that out to the group, Dave. But I don't know what the voltage is of your power supply versus the battery voltages, but we'll put that out to the group and let someone answer that question. Get involvement here tonight. Who'd like to answer Dave's question?
KK70GC comments.
Hey, Fred. I'd like to get people involved here. Go ahead. Your comment, please.
I think I heard him say that they all had USB-C ports on the batteries themselves. Part of the USB-C spec is to negotiate back and forth in order to figure out what voltage the battery can tolerate. So if they are all USB-Cs, they should negotiate properly. That's my comment. It should work just fine. KK70GC.
Thank you, Fred. Yeah, they must be relatively new batteries as well, Dave. Anybody else have a comment for Dave?
WB3GTM, Whiskey Baker 3 Golf Tango Mike.
Oh, Mike. Westford, Vermont. WB3GTM, good evening.
Good evening, Dick, and good evening, everybody else out there. From my experience, if it's true USB-C, it should negotiate like the other gentleman just said. I would do like trust but verify type of thing. Get one of those inline adapters that measure the voltage and current, and check some stuff that you plug it into. I have if you have like a higher quality one, like say like a USB-C one, like on a MacBook or something, an Apple MacBook, I plug that into various devices and just with that little USB voltage current adapter, and it did negotiate and did put out the right voltages and all that stuff. But then I got like this little portable fan, for instance. I think it was a portable fan or some other device, and it says it's not designed for PD delivery systems. So there could be cases of some devices that will not handle that or don't have the chipset that's in the USB-C that plug or whatnot to work properly. And I've heard also some people plug in some of those devices into a cigarette lighter or a car, for instance, and they plug into like a Raspberry Pi, and then the Raspberry Pi goes up in smoke. So I think I would. There's a lot of them that will negotiate the right voltages and so on and the currents. I've seen that, but I think I would just do a double check to be safe. This is WB3GTM.
Betsy.
Caution, I guess, is oh, there's David. Then okay, K4FXC will take David's comment. Good evening, David.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Yeah, I agree that USB-C has the interesting feature that it can supply multiple different voltages. However, the base voltage is 5 volts. You can get all kinds of little chargers that only supply 5 volts, and that I would think would be completely safe. I use chargers, kind of mix mash. Now, most of mine are 5 volts because I don't have a need for higher output voltage for faster charging or more energy, transfer. But most of the stuff that's USB-C in a battery type scenario, I would think would be well behaved. You could try it and see, but if you stick with one that's just 5 volts output, which is like the base chargers, then that should be fine. And I have played, multiple charger or musical power supply like that regularly, and not had any ill effects with USB-C. So it's pretty good in that regard. K4FXC.
Thank you, David. Mike and Fred and Dave and Hutzel, has that helped you? Gonna give it the old college try.
I think I'll try it on a $20 Bopang battery before I try it on something more expensive like an Anytone. That's what those comments are what I was thinking was the answer, but it's good to hear someone else say it besides what I think. And ain't no why back to that.
Well, good, Dave. Come back next week, let us know, but I think you probably will be all right. Thanks to David, Mike, and Fred for answering the question. Let's go to Dan, Sanford, Florida. W4FWN. Good evening, Dan.
Well, good evening, Dick, and everyone else on the net. This is W4FWN. I'll try to make this as brief as I can. I've ordered a Radiodity HF008, which is a multi-vertical, and I'm using it for portable, setting it up in a place. And I've noticed that I've seen one take it apart, and what it is, it's a coil with taps on it for different bands, and you have a jumper that you move. And I don't have it in-house, but I'm thinking with the way it looked that whenever I measure the PL259 at the end of it, that it will be open. In other words, there will not be a short between the coil and ground. I would like to use my coax cable coming into the shack, portable, for the ground plane, for the counterpoise. How do I do that? Will this just automatically do it, or do I have to put something in the line to make it use the coax shielding? And secondly, I'm going to ground mount this antenna. And should I put it on a metal spike, a metal post, or should I put it on something like PVC or something to isolate it from ground? I hope I explained it right, but anyway, that's my question. This is W4FWN, back to net.
KC6UFM. Sure, there's the man that can answer your question, Dan. Good evening, Charles.
Good evening, Dick, and everyone on the Tech Net. As far as the question is concerned, yes. I might test it monthly because the supply also provides power for my wife's medical equipment if we lose power. So that's my answer to that. And Dan, as far as whether you need to use a metal spike or you need to provide an insulator, that depends on the construction of the antenna and I am not real familiar with that one. And unfortunately, I'm not in a position where I can pull it up on the web right this moment. But as far as your counterpoise is concerned, yes, your coax will work just fine. But two little caveats need to go there. Number one, actually three. Number one is that you need to have the base of that antenna as close to the actual ground as you can get it. Back in the old days, we used to use Coke bottles for insulators for the base of verticals like that. But get it in within a foot, preferably closer, but no more than a foot above ground. And then your coax, lay it. You said you're going to be using it portable, so just lay your coax on top of the ground and run it out straight as far as you can, preferably to the same height as what the antenna is. So if the antenna is 20 feet tall, run as straight as you can, your coax out about 20 feet, and then you can go wherever, but have it laying right on top of the ground. And the third thing is, you're going to get some RF back into your shack. You're saying shack, but I'm more envisioning something like a POTA activation, and but you're going to have RF floating around there. So it right at your radio if you're going to be outside, or right where the coax goes into your quote-unquote shack. Put some kind of a common mode choke, just a few ferrite beads around the coax will do the trick. Wrapping the coax up about 5 or 6 turns on a 4 to 6 inch form will take care of that as well. No sense going out and buying something fancy that you don't need. But otherwise, that should work pretty well for you. Back over to you, Dick, KC6 USM.
Thank you, Charles. Dan, does that answer your question?
Yes, very good. I did want to make one thing clear, that the best I can see with the antenna torn down, that when I measure across the PL259 at the end of it, I will not read any resistance at all. In other words, they're completely isolated from each other. I believe that's what I'm going to read. I can, double check that. But that's what I think I'm going to read. So anyway, I don't know when that changes anything, Charles, or not. But that's what I think I'm going to read. Back to net. This is W4FWN. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
KC6 UFM. I'm sorry, Dan, I completely forgot that part of your question. As long as that little test lead clip, if you want to call it that you use to pick up the cap on the coil, as long as that is not connected, you're going to end up reading infinite resistance. But as soon as you connect that to the coil, your resistance is going to go very, very close to zero. Because what that clip does is it changes the loading transformer, which is what that coil actually is. It changes the ratio on the windings on that. But regardless of whether it's all the way down at the bottom or all the way up at the top of the coil, the wire is going to have such low resistance that it's might as well going to be called zero. But if that clip is not connected, it should be reading infinite resistance. Back over to you, Dick, KC6 UFM.
Thank you, Charles. It's kind of the way the Outbacker antenna was back in the day, if you remember those. Ran one of those mobiles. Dan, did that help? And you didn't answer our question. Do you have any auxiliary power in your shack?
The out here tonight?
Let me jump in here. Okay, yes, thank you, Charles. I appreciate that information. I'll know better whenever I get it. I'll see what I read. But anyway, it was just a just the way it looked. So I appreciate it. Yes, we do have auxiliary power. We have batteries on trickle charge, and we drag out our generator come hurricane time and check it probably about three times during the hurricane season. So yes, we do have backup. Back to net control is W4FWN. Thanks a lot, Dick.
Have a good week, Dan. Let's go to William. Wake Forest, North Carolina, KQ4GWO. William, what can we do for you tonight? KQ4GWO, William, Wake Forest, North Carolina. Are you still with us? Nothing. Let's move on to stations with an amateur radio related question. If you have a question you'd like to get an answer to tonight, call signs twice and slowly. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
I apologize, Net Control. This is Kilo Quebec.
You there, William? You're a little bit shaky coming in on Echolink. Sounds like you got maybe a poor internet connection. Go ahead with your question, and we'll try to hear your question. Like I say, you're kind of shaky, but let's see what we can do. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you once again. This is Whiskey. We picked up me the bull. 70 centimeters jacket. What should I get my antennas?
Sorry, William, we're not getting enough out of it. I heard 70 centimeter was about the only thing and 2 antennas. Can you try to connect to ECR 9050, connect to our conference server? You might have better luck, I don't know, but disconnect from where you are and try connecting to ECR 9050, our conference server, and I'll come back to you. Do I have anybody else with an amateur radio related question while William is disconnecting and reconnecting? I don't know if that's going to make any difference, but we'll see. Anybody else? Call signs twice. Somebody with an amateur radio related question. Hearing nothing, nor do I see William connected over to our conference server, but let me give a call and see. William, are you over on the server, KQ4GWO?
Good afternoon, Net. This is Kilo Quebec for Golf Whiskey Oscar.
Well, you're still where you were, William, but try to answer that question again. We'll do our best.
Okay, like I said, I just picked up 2 meters and 70 centimeters Yagi antennas. I have the crossover bracket kit, so now I just need to know what is the recommended distance I should have between the 2 antennas. 2 Yagi antennas. That is net control.
KC6 UFM. We heard you better comes up. Go ahead, Charles.
Thank you, Dick. Good evening, William. Good to talk to you again. I'm not sure if I have the right image in my head here, William, but what I think that you want to do is you have two Yagis, one for 70 centimeters, the other for 2 meters, and you're going to put those on the same mast, and you want to know how far apart to put them. Ideally, you should put them at least one wavelength apart at the lowest frequency. So in other words, put them at least 2 meters or about 7 feet apart. Anything beyond that is going to be better. And the other thing is, as a rule, you want the 70 centimeter to go up high because it's going to be a little smaller and present less of a wind load on the end of that mast. North Carolina, I think you guys get some ice storms there as well, so that'll help out with that. If I made a bad assumption there, please let me know. Well, back over to you, Dick, KC6 UFM.
Thank you, Charles. William, did that answer your question? Probably not the answer that you wanted was 7 feet, but that's the right answer anyway, William. Is that helpful?
Yes, sir. With one correction, I have a two dual bands, 2 meters, 70 millimeter Yankees antenna. But the real question was the distance between. So the 7 feet, I can work with that. So yes, the question was answered. This is for Golf Whiskey Oscar. That's true.
Well, it's good you can work with the 7 feet, then you got a lot of real estate. How about answering our question, William, to fill out our log here tonight? Do you have auxiliary power in your home or shack?
I have about 4 lipo batteries laying around that I use when I'm doing a little this, a little bit of that. If not, I can make that work. So I'm going to say yes. This is Credo for Golf Whiskey Oscar. Peace all. Have a great day.
Got you down for yes. 53 past the hour. Who else has got an amateur radio related question for us tonight?
Tango Uniform K4 NTU.
K4NTU, and QRZ is looking. Maybe that's a new call sign to you. Good evening.
Fine, just connected up through DMR through the East Coast Reflector, so that's a question answered. I do have a question kind of along the same vein as William, believe it or not, his name. I like to work satellite, and oftentimes the uplink and the downlink are on different bands. So I have a handheld the tape measure Yagi that I built for 70 centimeters and 2 meters. So I can use that for both. But my results are fairly mixed. My SWR is low, but I'm having difficulty really kind of keeping signal and making contact with the repeaters using a handheld. Just kind of curious, because we were talking about 70 centimeter and 2 meter Yagis being 7 feet apart. The boom that I'm holding has them a couple of inches apart. Is that really kind of crippling my ability to get the uplink and the downlink? I do have a diplexer, so I'm not using them at the same time. They are wired separately, but just kind of curious, what what results can I, or how can I achieve better results when I'm working satellite? K for NTU.
KC6 UFM.
So give us your name here so we can put that at least in the log. Is that a new call sign to you?
Relatively new to the ham radio. Just got my license a couple months ago, but I have a vanity as of a couple months ago as well. Kilo 4 Mike Tango uniform, and it's Ryan in Northern Virginia.
Okay, for Mike Tango uniform. There we go. Put the right letters in. It works every time, Ryan. Let me send it over to Charles. I think I know the answer to this one. Go ahead, Charles.
Thank you, Dick. Yeah, Ryan, first of all, I don't know if you have checked out the East Coast Reflector monthly magazine or not, but I do an article in there every month called The Antenna Farm, and not in the next issue, but the issue after that, going to be getting into some antennas for use for just exactly what you're doing for space communication. So kind of keep an eye out for that. But there are some variables here. You said you made the tape measure dual band Yagi. The best way to do that is to have the 2-meter elements and the 70 centimeter elements at right angles to each other. That pretty much eliminates interaction between the elements for you. If you have them all on the same plane, I guarantee you your pattern is going to be squirrely. It's going to be very difficult to make a contact with that. And the other half of that equation is when you're working satellites, you don't want a whole lot of gain, because if you're holding the antenna in your hand, you can't hold it that steady. Now, if you have a nice ASL rotator system out there that's set in concrete and can track very accurately, yeah, you can have high gain then. But for a handheld antenna, you don't want more than about 6 to 8 decibels, maybe 9 at the outside dBi gain. You're not going to be able to point it that accurately by hand. But if you have those elements in the same plane, you're going to have problems just exactly like what you're describing. They need to be at right angles to each other. If you have them at right angles, it may be a case that you're just not able to point it accurately enough. You may have too much gain there. You didn't say how many elements each of the signs have, but if you've got more than about 5 or 6 elements, you're way outside of where it needs to be for a handheld antenna. Back over to you, Dick, KC6 USM.
Hang on a minute there, Mike. Ryan, most of those tape measure antennas are 3-element. Is that what you got there, 3 elements?
2-meter plane is 3 elements in my 70 centimeter band antenna. The plane for that is 7 elements. They are indeed at right angles, so they're not the same plane. But that's really great. Nice lower gain, and I think that's probably where I'm going to start. And of course, check out the magazine Antenna Farm in the next couple of months for some more advice. Really appreciate it. K4 MTU.
All right, Ryan. Let's see what Mike's got for us. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, yes, Dick.
Gridmaster on satellite, and he predominantly used a small handheld antenna to get us, to Gridmaster. So, yeah, using a handheld antenna is certainly possible to make a lot of contacts on satellite. But I wonder if he's done any antenna tuning, and the SWR is good on both bands. If he's checked any of that, you know, rather than just put the antenna together and blindly just using it. Another good thing to do is perhaps use an app to make sure you're tracking the satellites. There's a lot of good apps out there. I like ISS Detector personally. That helps you find, you know, the azimuth and the elevation of where the satellite is presently at your location. I have several different antennas. I like the arrow antennas. I also have a elk, like a log periodic antenna, which, you know, the arrows have the elements at right angles, just like Charlie was saying there. And the elk is a log periodic, and it's all on the same plane. It works well too, but I think the arrow tends to be a little better. And also, it's a good point to use an antenna that's not too huge. You know, my first arrow antenna I got, which I still have, I got the longer one, and I tell you, you just will not be able to hold that antenna because it gets really heavy real quick. Unless you put her on a tripod or something. I'd recommend if you have a good antenna, just have a shorter antenna with a little bit of gain in it, and you'll be good. But you can certainly pick up, maybe practice receiving. I wonder if you've done that. See if you can receive the satellites even without transmitting. Make sure you can track the satellites first before you start transmitting. Anyhow, just a couple little pointers. This is WB3GTM.
Thank you, Mike. Well, there's some things to try, Ryan. Come on back next week and let us know how you make out. We'll take one more question here. It's coming up to the top of the hour. Take one more question tonight. One more amateur radio related question.
K4 GDS. K4 GDS.
Go, K4 GDS.
So we were talking a couple weeks ago at SWL one night about trying to add an antenna here, and so I'm trying to do on 70 centimeters. I have a 3-element Yagi that I bought a couple years ago, and I don't want that level of directionality, but I was curious if I can remove either the reflector or the director and get a less focused Yagi, less gain but broader. And then one step further, if I remove both, would it effectively act as a dipole, or is the beam going to mess things up? K4 GDS.
KC6 UFM.
Hey, Charles.
Thanks, Dick. Hi, Gil. Good to hear you on tonight. Yes to all your questions. You can remove either the director or the reflector, either one of the parasitics, and that will make it a little less directional, a little less gain. It's going to be a lot broader out front. As far as which one to remove, traditionally, if you look at a 2-element beam, traditionally we think of that as being the driven element and a reflector. There is absolutely no reason why it can't be a driven element and a director. Doesn't matter. As far as equipment is concerned, my personal experience has always been that using the driven element and a reflector gives you a little bit sharper of a pattern. Whereas if you use the driven element with a director, like a dipole. The boom may give you some impact, and it may not. If it's a non-conductive boom, it probably really won't do anything. You won't notice any difference between that and just a normal dipole. But a conductive boom will probably distort the pattern just a little bit, but it's going to be minimal, Gil. But you can do any one of those things, and everything will be just fine. Back over to you, Dick. KC6 USM.
K4FXC.
Thank you, Charles. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, K4FXC, I agree with everything Charles mentioned there. One comment, though, is your tuning on the antenna will probably change significantly if you remove, particularly if you move the reflector. Lots of times the director has less impact than the reflector, at least in my experience for tuning. But if you start changing that around, expect to have to retune it as well. In fact, it probably will go way out of tune, particularly in the case I'm speaking of, like, for example, Cushcraft A3 Yagi that I've got. That one time I decided I'd just put it up as a dipole at field, and found that it was all out of whack. Of course, I should have known better, but anyhow, K4FXC. And I do have backup power solutions here, several, including solar and lithium iron phosphate batteries, and a generator.
Right, put you down for a yes. Thank you, David. Haven't talked to you for a while. Trust all is well. And good luck with that, Gil. I know you've been monkeying around. Just out of curiosity, have you ever taken the node out and just, taken it outside and tried it from outside the motorhome and see if that helps?
Yeah, the other day I took it out and set it on a picnic bench, and that helped considerably. And I've even thought about doing that, or just running a piece of coax outside and putting a signal stick out there, getting it up so that it's omnidirectional. The RV is not blocking one direction or the other. So, but I had this other one, and it just seemed like it was built for it. It would be especially if I convert to a dipole, it'd be a perfect antenna. And I figured I'd probably have to retune it. And on the question of the night, I'm in an RV. I have a 7-kilowatt generator. I have 12-volt batteries on board, and all my equipment is on UPS. So 3 layers of protection. K4 GDS, back to net.
All right, we'll get you down for a yes, sir, as well. It's all good. Forgot who asked that question. Oh, Gil, I'm sorry. I had lost the log sheet for a second. It was my fault. I clicked on the wrong thing because we're back. Thanks, Gil. I guess that'll do it for me. I just had one announcement that I wanted to make. I didn't make it at the beginning of the net. Everybody knows Ham Shack Hotline's going away the end of next month. And Joe has added a bridge to our server for amateur wire. So for those of you that have amateur wire, 90036. 90036 is the gateway into ECR from amateur wire. We will get that published and so forth and so on as time goes on, but just a heads up for those that have amateur wire. I know they're pretty flooded right now with getting everybody registered and so forth, and Joe got in there, and 90036 for amateur wire for the East Coast Reflector. That'll do it for me. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 7. Over to Scott, WG2BLT. Good evening, everyone. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
Thank you, Dick, and good evening, everyone. This is Scott, W2BLT in Buffalo, New York. And I'll start taking the general check-ins here. This week we start with the ones and go right up to the zeros and then the latent mist. So once every 10 weeks, the ones are first. Question of the evening is, do you have auxiliary power in your shack?
And how often do you test it? We have no text check-ins, but let me remind everybody the text line is open, 716-317-9050. That's 716-317-9050. Let's go to the ones. Who we have out there with a 1 in your call sign? Please come now.
KC1 QPL. KC1 QPL.
November 1, Whiskey Echo Bravo. November 1, Whiskey Echo Bravo.
Alrighty, recognizing N1WEB Web and KC1 QPL. Let's go to John, South St. Paul, Minnesota. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Scott. Good evening, everyone on Tech Net tonight. KC1 QPL. To answer your question, the short answer is yes, I have auxiliary power. It's not just for the shack, but it takes care of the whole household here. And that's all I got. Back to you, sir. KC1 QPL, thanks for having me.
Thanks, John. Always good talking with you. Have a great week. W1 or N1 WEB Web in Collierville, Tennessee. Good evening, Web.
Hey, thank you, Scott. Good evening to the net. You can put me down as a yes on the auxiliary power. I think I've got about 120 amp hours of batteries that I run the shack off of, so I don't have to test it. I guess I don't use my radio that much that I need to charge it all the time. That 100 amp hours will get me through several weeks of work that I do. So maybe I need to step up my activity a little bit. But I do have some solar panels that I can charge those with as well. They won't power a house or anything like that, but that's what I have. And it's always great to be in the first round of check-ins. I love it. And one WEB.
Alrighty, Web. We do what we can do to please around here. Have yourself a good night. Appreciate you joining us. Alright, that leads us to the twos. Via the text line, we have KD2JPP, Bob, WA2UUS, Joel, W2AJR, Andy, VK2DY, Robert, and KD2, VNU, Derby Dan. Who else do we have? Oh, we have N2ZVN via the text as well. It just came in. Who else do we have with a 2 in your call sign? Please come now, twice.
Alpha Bravo 2, Zulu India.
N2BH. N2BH.
W2KJV. W2KJV.
Alrighty there, we recognize W2KJV, Tony, N2BH, Bill, and AB2ZI, Kevin. That last station coming in through the Buffalo repeater. You want to try it one more time, please? Might have been just a ghost. Do we have anyone else with a 2 in your call sign? Last call for the 2s.
Kilo 2 Tango Kilo Delta. Kilo 2 Tango Kilo Delta. In and out.
Alrighty, recognizing Garrett, K2DKD was in and out tonight. Let's go to the top of this list. Question of the evening is, do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it? Let's go to KD2JPP. Bob in Gallatin, Tennessee. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Scott. This time I'm coming to you from Two Land tonight on Echolink, so I do hope I'm going through. I have a whole house generator, and I also have a generator from Four Patriots, which is more than capable of running the equipment inside the house. So that's a yes for me. Hope everybody has a great week, and we'll send it right back to Net Control.
Alrighty, Joel. Thanks for joining us, and welcome back up to Two Land. Let's see. Let's go to WA2UUS, Joel in Buffalo, New York. Good evening, Joel.
No, some of that. Simply put, I do not have auxiliary power. I used to have a car battery that I could work with in an emergency, but that's gone. It's gone. I wish everyone a nice week ahead. Be well and be safe. Thank you, Scott.
Alrighty, have a great evening. Joel, what's left of it? Appreciate you being here. W2AJR, Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening, Scott. Everybody on the net. Yeah, we have backup power. Usually tested twice a year. Winter field day, summer field day. 7-3, everybody. Have a great week. Thank you, Scott.
That's a good reminder. Have a good evening, Andy. Thanks for stopping by. Let's go around to VK2DY. Robert in Kellyville Ridge, New South Wales, Australia. I believe it's still morning. Either way, good day to you.
Hey, good morning. 11:18 a.m. here on Wednesday. Wow, the week is going fast. We almost got down to freezing last night, got down to 0.5 degrees Celsius. So we are in the coldest part of winter here, and I think we'll get a freezing day before the week is through here, freezing morning before the day is through. Anyway, no, I just don't see the point of it. I do have UPSs on a couple of servers that I have running in my house, but no generators, anything like that, no. I haven't had a power failure in the 10 years we've lived here. VK2DY, back to net.
Alrighty, thank you, Robert. Appreciate you joining us, and enjoy the day. This is W2BLT. Next up, KD2VNU, Derby Dan in Derby, New York. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott. Good evening, everybody on the net, KD2VNU. Yes, I do have a backup generator, but it's not automatic. I got to run and hook up all the extension cords and run them where they need to go, and luckily we don't have too many outages here. KD2VNU, return it back to the net, 7-3 stall.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you joining us, and you have a good day. N2ZVN, Alan in Kendall, New York. Good evening, Alan.
Good evening, Scott. Everyone on the net. Yes, I do. It's tested monthly, and had 200 amp hours of lithium iron and solar if need be, and a generator. So pretty well set. N2ZVN, back to net.
And have a good night, Alan. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. AB2 is ZI, Kevin
down on Long Island. Good evening.
Great greetings to the net. The only auxiliary power I have is a whole house generator that I test maybe once a year, or once or twice a year when I change fuel on it.
Well, that'll work. You have yourself a good evening, Kevin. Thanks for stopping by. And to BH, one of our morning brew hosts, Elmira, New York. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, everybody. Not what I should have. I do have battery backup for my nodes and a LiFePo battery for my HF rigs and to BH.
I'll put you down for a yes for the ham shack stuff. Have yourself a great evening, Bill, and we'll talk to you soon. W2, KJV, Tony in Homosassa, Florida. Tony, do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it?
Well, good evening, Scott. Yes, I do. I have solar, 400 amp hour lithium ion batteries. I have a UPS and a house generator. Solar goes on just about every day. I test it out for 3-4 hours a day just to keep it active, and the generator probably I just fire it up once a month. Hope everyone has a good night. Back to you, Scott. W2 KJV.
Hey, thanks, Tony. You have yourself a great evening. Appreciate you joining us. That's it for the twos. This is W2BLT. Let's go to the threes. Via the text line, we have KD3ATQ, Jim in Easton, Pennsylvania. Who else do we have with a 3 in your call sign? Please come with your call sign twice.
Whiskey Baker 3, Golf Tango Mike. WB3GTM.
Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta. Kilo Charlie 3, Foxtrot Golf Delta.
KB3 VPK. KB3 VPK.
Kilo 3.
VK3AWA. VK3AWA.
Alrighty, we'll hold it up there, recognizing KD3ATQ Jim, WB3GTM Mike, KC3FGD Ray, KB3VPK Mary, VK3AWA Daryl, and VK3KEZ Brian. Any other threes? Last call for the threes.
Victor Echo 3, India, Quebec Uniform. BE3IQU, Reg and Brampton.
Alrighty, we got you, Reg, VE3IQU. Let's go to the top of this list. And the question is, do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack? And how often do you test it? Let's go to KD3ATQ, Jim in Easton, Pennsylvania. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, and the net. Do have a generator, yes, and we fire it up about once a month. Back to net control, KD3ATQ.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate you joining us. WB3GTM Mike up in Westford, Vermont. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott. Good evening, everybody on net. This is Mike WB3GTM. Good to hear you, Scott. outages over the years. It's lasted almost like a week without power, so it's good to have something for a backup. But I have no scheduled checks. The portable units, I do use them fairly frequently just for portable power from here and there and charging things and so on. So thanks for running in. Thanks for checking me in. Back to Net Control. This was WB3GTM.
All righty, Mike. Thanks for joining us and have yourself a great evening. KC3FGD, Ray down in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. Good evening. Hey, good evening, Scott, and all those on the net here this evening, this wonderful evening. Negative, I do not have any backup power here in my cottage. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Back to Scott at Net Control. Thank you, Ray. Always a pleasure. Next up, KB3 VPK Mary in Easton, Pennsylvania, or as CMT would say. Good morning, Murray.
That was good. Yeah, we have a generator. It's 115. We use it to power our fridge. That kind of takes priority over the radio stuff. But really need a 220 so we can power our well pump. But we don't have one of those yet. So it could be used for the repeater if we wanted to or needed to. Back to you, KB3 VPK.
All right, thank you, Mary. You have a great evening, and thanks for stopping by. Let's go over to Australia, VK3AWA. Good evening, Daryl.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, and listeners. The answer is yes. Yes, I do. We have frequent power outages here, scheduled and unscheduled. We have a scheduled one next week, and I have a 3 kVA petrol generator. I don't test it because it gets used often enough with our frequent power outages. Thanks, Scott. Back to you.
All righty, Daryl. Thanks for joining us. And I don't know, scheduled power outage. Not familiar with that, but have a great evening. Or, well, the rest of the day to you. VK3 KEZ Brian over in Australia. Good evening.
K3KZ. I live within 10 kilometres of the biggest power station in Victoria, but we also have power outages, and I've got a solar panel with a battery just to provide lighting and etc. So the irony doesn't escape me. The K3KZ by.
Alrighty, Brian. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the day. Let's go up north to VE3IQU Reg up in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. Good evening, Reg.
And a very good evening to you and everybody else around the net tonight. Good old Brampton. Well, we had an absolutely splendid day. Absolutely nothing but sunshine from morning till night. And temperatures are a little bit too warm, but we'll take it. It's a whole lot better than, January, February stuff up here. Anyhow, I hope everybody's doing well out there, and that includes Dick, if he happens to be listening. And we'll toss it back to you. And if there was a question, I don't know it, but I don't think there was one. But if it was, let me know, and I'd be glad to take a shot at it. Toss it back to you, and have a great time out there, everybody, and enjoy summer. E3IQU.
Well, Reg, we always have a question. Tonight's question is, do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it?
Well, for my handheld, I've got about 4 extra batteries. For the radio you're listening to me on, the FTM 300, there's really no auxiliary power directly, although I do have a generator in the garage. I think it's about 3,500 watts or something like that. Anyhow, it's been, unfortunately, it's been sitting in the garage for probably 3 years or so without being started, because until just a couple of months ago, I had a car in there and I could not access the thing. I couldn't get it out. But the car is gone, so this summer I'm going to get that generator out of there, and we're going to fire it up and see whether what we have to do to maintain it. So I'll toss it back to you, and V3IQ you.
Well, thank you, Reg, and good luck with that. It'll probably fire right up for you. Let's go to the fours. Via the text line, we have KK4SDD Les in Claremont. Who else do we have out there tonight with a 4 in your call sign? Please come twice and slowly.
For OSU, not for Ohio State University. Go Badgers.
This is 9Y4 Jet. 9 Yankee 4 Delta X-ray. Richland.
This is W4FWN, W4 Foxtrot, Whiskey, November.
KQ4 BPZ Kilo Quebec 4 Bravo Papa Zulu.
All right, let me recognize these here, and then we'll see if we got any others. We got KQ4, BPZ, Ralph, W4FWN, Dan, 9Y4, DX, Bertrand, N4, OSU, Jerry, KQ4, UPK, Chris, N4, VK, or KO4, VK. Is that a good call sign there, David? Was there a KO4 station that I didn't acknowledge?
KL4FRR, KL4FRR.
Foxtrot Hotel Echo, Kilo Quebec 4, Foxtrot Hotel Echo.
Alrighty, let me recognize KQ4 FHE, Pat in Harvest, Alabama. KQ4 BPZ, Ralph in Miami. And we got KO4 FRR, Joe in Sorrento. Let's run this list and see what we got. We got KK4 SDD, Les in Claremont, Florida. The question of the evening, Les, is do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it? This is W2BLT. Good evening, Les.
I just got rid. I had a battery backup on this unit. I just got rid of it, but I do have a generator, and we live here in Florida.
and I test it off. KK4 SED back to net.
Thank you. Let's have a great evening. Next up, one of our team members here, and the man with the longest beard on the reflector. KO4 FRR, Joe and Sereno, good evening.
Well, good evening, Scott and Annette. This is Joe, KO4FR. I do not have alternative power at the moment, but I am working on it. Talk to you later.
All righty, Joe, you have a great evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. KQ4 UPK, Chris in Hollywood, Florida. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, and everybody else on the net. Yeah, I have a little backup. It's a little solar rechargeable power station that I use, just in case we lose power or whatever. It's it's good enough to power my radio, and I test it every once in a while. Works good, so yeah, I have some backup power.
All righty, thanks for joining us, Chris, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Let's go to Jerry, Fort Lauderdale, N4 OSU. Good evening, Jerry.
Evening, Juan. Good evening to everybody out there. Yes, we have a generator, and we have a backup for the generator. We have a generator in the motorhome with 40 gallons of gasoline. 17 days, full showers gets to you, if you know what I mean. No power for 17 days. N4 OSU. We're down.
Hey, Jerry. It's been so long since I lost power. I don't know. It's been years. Have a good evening. Appreciate you being here. My buddy Bertrand, NY4DX, over in Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, Bertrand. And do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack? And how often do you test it if you do?
Well, it's a pleasant evening to you, Net Control. Whiskey 2 Bravo Lima Tango. Scott, this is 9 Yankee 4 Delta X-ray Bertrand. And my location is temporarily in the United States of America. I'm in New Jersey for a few weeks, spending some time here with family. So I'll be transmitting from this area. However, next week I will be in a different area, so you might hear a different location for me. However, with respect to the question, my answer is no. At this point in time, I do not have a generator. I used to have batteries, used to remove the old car batteries and link them up to the radio, but I no longer do that at this point. That's it from me. Back to you, Net Control. 7 everyone. W2BLT. This is 9-4. Yeah.
Bertrand, and welcome to the north here in Two-Land. And from what I see last week there in New Jersey, you might want to keep your feet up a little bit. Understand they had quite a bit of rain. Hopefully everything's all right. And thanks for joining us. This is W2BLT. Let's go to W4FWN, Dan in Sanford, Florida. Evening.
Well, good evening, Net Control, and everyone else on the net. It's W4FWN. Yes, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. We do have backup batteries on battery maintainers, and we have a generator. Very good. By the way, I wanted to thank Charles in California for answering my question. Very good. And it is like an Outbacker, Charles, in case you're wondering. Okay. Thank you so much for for answering the questions and back to net control. This is W4FWN.
Hey, thank you, Dan, and have yourself a great evening. And I'm sure Charles is still listening and smiling. KQ4, BPZ, Ralph in Miami, Florida. Good evening, Ralph.
Net control, thanks for taking the call. We run all our HF off of lithium phosphate batteries, which is 100 watts, wire up in the tree. All HF is on batteries. The dual bander, it stays on, but I also have the ability to switch it to battery. And we also have a gasoline generator as well as a power bank, a pretty sizable power bank to run all radio operations. Back to you, net control. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us, Ralph, and good to know. Have a great day. And last on this list, KQ4FHE, Pat in Harvest, Alabama. Good evening, Pat.
Good evening, Scott, and everybody else on the Tech Net. This is KQ4FHD. No, I don't have any auxiliary power. 7-3, everybody. Back to you guys.
Okay, no it is, Pat, and you have yourself a great rest of the evening. Time to move on to the fives. We don't have any via the text lines, so if you have a 5 in your call sign, please come now with it twice.
I understand. This is WA5AR. WA5AR. The number is KC5CZX. Kilo Charlie 5 Charlie Zulu X-ray.
Kilo Juliet 5 Delta X-ray Bravo. Kilo Juliet 5 Delta X-ray Bravo.
November 5 Lima Yankee Golf. November 5 Lima Yankee Golf.
Kilo Alpha 5 Golf Sierra Sierra KA5 GSS.
Kilo 5 Romeo Lima Romeo K5 RLR.
Kilowatt 5 Hotel Lima Hotel K58.
Whiskey 5 Lima Golf Alpha. W5LG.
K5RLR, Randall, KA5 GSS, Shane, and 5LYG, William and Spring, looks like you're new to the system, at KJ5 at DXB, Frank, KC5CZX, Daryl, and some underpowered station down in Montgomery, Texas, Charlie, WA5AIR. Who else do we have with a 5 in your call sign? Come now.
K5LLL. That's KJ5LLL.
question of the evening is, do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it? Really?
Yeah, I'm here. You found me?
Yes, sir.
Alright. I wasn't paying attention, Scott. Sorry about that.
Now, I remember when I first got licensed and I was thinking,
I have a home generator that I installed. That's what I did for 45 years, of course, working on generators. Not home generators, big commercial generators. I worked on a lot of home generators, but I have a fully automatic generator. It comes up, I don't even have to get up out of my chair. And it comes on and runs everything in the house. And it comes on every week by itself, and testing itself. So that's it. I'm sticking to it, Scott. Hope you're doing good from WA5AR.
We're doing good, Charlie. Good to talk with you again. It's been a little bit. You have yourself a fine evening. Appreciate you joining us. KC5CZX, Daryl in Lubbock. Good evening.
Good evening to everybody on the net. KC5CZX. Yes, I do have battery backups or solar generators, whatever you want to call them, to run my nodes off of, and I can run limited AC off of it as well. So back to net, KC5CZX.
All righty, thank you. Appreciate you joining us, Daryl, and have a good evening. KJ5 at DXB, Frank in Sugar Land, Texas. Good evening, Frank, and do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it?
KJ5DXB, good evening, Scott, Vicky, and everybody out there. Yes, I do. I have a 1800 watt solar battery. Probably unplug it and test it out maybe twice a year for that. Then I have a regular gas/propane generator out in the garage. I'll crank up every couple of months. So yeah, I have a little bit. Came in handy during last hurricane. Hopefully don't have to use it again, but it's there. Thanks for the check-in. Everybody have a good evening. KJ5DXB. Back to you, Net.
All righty, thank you, Frank. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Let's go to N5LYG, Williams, Spring, Texas. Looks like you're new to the system. Welcome.
Well, thank you, sir. This is N5LYG. Yes, new to the system. I took about a 13-year break from ham radio and just now getting back into it. As for auxiliary power, I have 3 generators here at the house. One freebie thanks to Amazon not coming to pick it up. So other than that, that's all I have. And thank you very much for allowing me to check in. N5LYG, back to net.
All righty, William. Appreciate you joining us. And we're here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. If you have any questions, bring them on. And if you just want to stop by and say hello, that's welcome as well. KA5 at GSS, Shane in Beaumont, Texas. Good evening, Shane.
Good evening, Scott.
This is KA5GSS. Yes, I do have several options for backup power. I got battery backup for the ham shack, and I've got generator backup power for the rest of the house. Hope everybody has a good afternoon, and I hope we don't need this auxiliary power for the hurricane season. KA5GSS, back to 73.
Yeah, that would be real nice not to use it. Have a good night, Shane. Thanks for stopping by. K5RLR, Randall, in Spring. Good evening.
Well, good evening there, Scott and Vicky and everybody else on net this evening. K5 RLR. I would have to say yes, I do have auxiliary power. I actually run my Anytone 578 off of a LiPo battery and charge it every once in a while and does just fine. Hope everybody has a good evening. 73 SWL, and see everybody here in the morning on the brew. K5RLR, back to you, sir.
Alrighty, thanks, Randall. You have yourself a great day. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, K5HLH, Harry in Grants, New Mexico. Good evening.
Good evening. This is K5HLH Harry in Grants, New Mexico. We have battery backup for the whole house, battery backup for some of the radios I'm talking on now inside the main house, UPS for the computer, internet, and also in the shack. So other than that, we're still having a little bit of a heat wave over here. Back to that, K5H.
Alrighty, thanks, Harry. Have yourself a great evening, and appreciate you joining us tonight. W5LGA, Lance in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good evening, Lance.
WLGA, good evening, Scott and Vicky and everyone else on the net. I run on battery over here all the time and use a little NCCO maintainer, and it doesn't seem to give me any problems. But then I can just always add a solar panel and keep that stuff going, and then I have a gasoline generator. Thank you guys for doing it. It's been a while since I checked in, and I was glad to hear you're in here this evening and reminded me to get in here. Thanks so much, Scott. W5LGA.
Well, glad you stopped back by, Lance, and don't be a stranger, buddy. KJ5LLL, Devin in Baytown, Texas.
Everybody. I currently do not have any battery power or any sort of backup. That'll be my next project I tackle, but still got to do a little more research, figure out what I need, what I'm going to go with. So that'll be another month or two at least before that's done. But yeah, thank y'all for having me. And 73 back to net. KJ5 Triple Lima.
Alrighty, thank you, Devin. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, KI5 PMI, Bill in Hobbs, New Mexico via the text line. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, everybody on the crew. No, I do not have any auxiliary backup. Hope everybody has a good night. KI5 PMI, back to net.
Alrighty, thank you, Bill. Have a good evening. Let's head for the fives. Let's go to the sixes. Via the text line, we have KC6 UFM, Charles in Guatay, California. What else do we have with a 6 in your call sign? Please come now.
Kilo Delta 6, Charlie, Whiskey, India, KD6 CWI. Good evening.
Alrighty, we got Ruben, KD6 CWI. Anyone else with a 6? Last call for the 6s.
and heard. Let's go to the top of this list. KC6 UFM, Charles in Guatai, California. Good evening, Charles. And do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack? And how often do you test it?
Good evening, Scott. Thank you to Vicki for doing her normal great job logging, and to you and Dick for herding the cats tonight. And yeah, I have to have backup power here. My wife has medical equipment that has to be powered all the time, and you know, here in beautiful downtown Guatai, all it takes is for somebody to trip over the extension cord, and we're out of power for about a week or 10 days. So I have quite an extensive system at this point. It's designed to power a whole bunch of medical equipment for up to 2 weeks, and you know, my ham gear takes very, very little off of that. So you know, yes, I do have it, and I check that system every month, the generator at any rate, and you know, the solar panels, you know, they basically get checked every day when there's sunshine. But you know, I do fire up the generator, make sure it's okay, and about every 3 months I will switch over to everything running off of the batteries for a few hours, just to kind of exercise them a little bit. So, but that's what I do with that. But yeah, not much to report here from beautiful downtown Guatai, other than we had a little bit of a cooling spell, but today it was back up in the 90s, and by the end of the week we're going to be up in triple digits again. So hopefully I won't melt and run into cracks. Hi. So everybody take care. Good hearing everyone tonight. A lot of new users, a lot of good questions, and look forward to next Tuesday. And as Dick mentioned earlier, make sure you drop by the Zoom room on Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern, and join us for the Ask an Elmer, Be an Elmer session. Should be fun. And tomorrow night, the open mic night. You know, get on there and sign up and show us what you got. So back over to you, Scott, KC6, UFM.
All right, thank you, Charles. Appreciate all you do for the system. KD6 CWI, Ruben in Fallbrook, California. Good evening, Ruben.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for doing the net. KD6CWI, Ruben in Fallbrook, North County, San Diego. Pleasure to be here. Just got back from my trip in Hawaii. Did a portable operation there on field day. Unfortunately, based on the location I was at, which was 100 feet elevation, it was on Iwa Beach, 20 minutes away from Honolulu. I didn't capture any exchange on 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10. And I did also FT8. So based on the band conditions, that's what I got to report. I did bring a 100-watt radio, and my antenna is a Chameleon MPass 2.0. So I'll bring it back to net control. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. And stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy life, and God bless. 73 KD6 CWI.
Thanks for joining us, Ruben. Appreciate it. We had a couple via the text line for the 7s here. We're going to move on. We had KC7IUP, Rodney, and Eli, Nevada. Looks like you're new to the system. And we had KK7ZSH, Jason up in Milwaukee, Oregon. Who else do we have with a 7 in your call sign? Please come now.
Kilo 7, November Yankee Charlie. Kilo 7, November Yankee Charlie. Doug. Here with my...
I'll try it again in case I doubled. OGC, KK7 OGC.
So KK7 NYC, Kilo 7, November Yankee Charlie.
Kilo 7, India Lima X. Kilo Echo 2, that Tango Golf.
Alrighty, we'll hold it up there. That 2 station, you hold on just for a bit. We'll get to the latent mist. 2s were second on the list tonight. We'll get to you when we call the latent mist. See, we had KK7ILX David, KK70GC Fred, KK7NYC Doug, and the other 2 I recognize, Jason and Rodney. Let's go to the top of this list. This is W2BLT, and the question is, do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it? Let's go to KC7IUP, Rodney in Ely, Nevada. Welcome to the system, and good evening.
Good evening, KC7IUP. That's Ely, Nevada. And yes, we have battery backup.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us, Rodney, and don't be a stranger, and might want to go to eastcoastreflector.com and see what we're all about. And because you're new, as long as you got and it looks like you do have a good email on QRZ, we'll get a welcome letter out to you, kind of explaining things briefly. Have a good evening. Let's go to KK7ZSH, Jason in Milwaukee, Oregon. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great night. As far as backup auxiliary power, I don't have anything set up. I'm a pretty new ham, so just still trying to get things worked out. But I do have a generator that I do plan on hooking the whole house up to just for emergencies once in a while. Maybe a battery backup at some point in time, but that's a ways down the road. But 73 Dual, KK7, ZSH.
All right, thanks for joining us, Jason, and have a good evening. Next up, KK7NYC, Doug in Fairview, Oregon. Good evening.
We'll run my house and we'll run my shack, and I also have a battery backup here that I could connect to if that all fails. And then I have, when I go camping, I have a generator there that I can use to back up my radios. So test it about once every 6 months, maybe, I guess. I should go out and check it now. Thanks for picking me up, KK7 NYC.
Alrighty, Doug, appreciate you joining us, and have a good evening. KK7OGC, Fred in Reno, Nevada. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, Vicki, and everyone on the net. Yes, I do. I learned my lesson because I was on call, and they called me on my cell phone. I had no power. And I said, all right. So now I have 5 100 amp hour batteries sprayed around my house with 300 watt pure sine wave inverters on top of them, and with battery meters so that I can check the voltage anytime I want. And then out in the garage, I have a on-demand power bank that I can run extension cords throughout the house. And generators, the only thing I'm missing is solar. Anyway, KK7OGC, back to net.
All right, thank you, Fred. Sounds like you got it covered pretty well. Have a great evening. KK7ILX, David in Portland, Oregon. Good evening.
Hey, thanks, Scott. It's good to be here. We've got a few generators. We've got a few Anchor Solix solar panels. We've got a gas generator, and then we've got a propane one that's hooked up to our transfer switch. So in the snowy winter of Portland, when the power goes out, we can power the furnace. 73 all around. Back to you, Scott.
All right, thank you, David. Enjoy the rest of your evening. That's going to do it for the 7s. Let's go on to the 8s via the text line. We have KA8, BYU, Roy, and Blaisdell. Who else do we have with an 8 in your call sign? Please come now.
Whiskey 8, Alpha Whiskey Delta, W8AWD, in and out.
Trot 8, Charlie November Kilo, KF8. Okay.
Alrighty, recognizing a KF8 CNK Connor in Toledo, Ohio, and W8AWD Austin and Beaumont, Texas was in and out. Anyone else with an 8 in your call sign, please come now. With nothing heard, let's go to Roy, KA8 BYU in Blaisdell. Good evening, Roy, and do you have any auxiliary power in your ham shack? And if you do, how often do you test it?
Everybody on the Tech Net, KA8 BYU. I'd just like to say thanks again to the guys for sending me the 1000th Net commemorative coffee mug. I got that this afternoon in the mail, and I'll be using it tomorrow morning for the morning brew. Yeah, I appreciate it. And also, yes, the whole building has a generator backup, and I also have a couple of different power banks in that to keep like the cell phone and that charged up as well. And I believe maintenance tests the building like every couple of weeks. That there's no set schedule for it that I know of. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Roy. Enjoy that coffee mug in the morning and enjoy the rest of the evening. Glad to hear you got the backup power like that. That's great. Next up, a KF8 CNK Connor in Toledo, Ohio. Good evening.
Connor, KF8 CNK. And I do not have an auxiliary backup for my ham shack yet because all of my radios are currently mobile rigs that are battery powered, which I guess you could maybe consider auxiliary to some degree. However, my server room, filled with my server, my home data center essentially, I have a CyberPower 600 watt backup auxiliary power that's got about 10 outlets, and I think half of them power backup for my router and just general network for home, and can power my server for about 30 minutes, which is very handy for these summer storms. The power sometimes can flicker off over 100 times a night. But that's all I got, and thanks for getting me in the net. I hope you have a great evening.
You as well, and thanks for joining us, Connor. All right, let's go to the 9s. Anybody with a 9 in your call sign, please come now. No, nobody with a 9 tonight. How about a 0? Anybody with a 0 out in there?
Good evening, Scott. N0MSS in North Dakota.
N0TIS, N0TIS.
AB0VX, John. AB0VX.
Alrighty then, we recognize AB0VX John, N0TIS Otis, and N0MSS. This is W2BLT. Question of the evening. Do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack, and how often do you test it? Let's go to Ross, N0MSS in Wahpeton, North Dakota. Good evening, Ross.
Yeah, good evening. Hope everybody's having a good night. I do not currently have auxiliary power emergency backup in the ham shack, but I do have batteries and I do have a generator I can hook up. So it is available. I just haven't got it hooked up or tested. So back to you, N0MSS.
Oh, you've got it if you need it. So thanks for joining us, Ross. Knew I could count on you tonight. N0TIS, Otis, Beaumont, Texas. Good evening.
Hello, Scott. Yep, you got to notice the call sign. Get it? Notice N0TIS. Yes, do have a generator backup. Also have UPS backups. So I'm pretty much covered. I just got to get it out. It's kind of a portable, big portable, and I have to test it every now and again. I guess it is time to do it since we're in hurricane season. So anyway, hey, great evening, everybody, and just enjoy life. N0TIS. Back to net.
That's the attitude, Otis. Have a great evening. Thanks for stopping by. And last on this list, AB0VX John in Honey Creek, Iowa. Good evening, John.
Hey, good evening, everybody on the net. Yeah, I've got the repeaters here in Honey Creek running off a battery backup if need be, and then I've got several 33 amp hour SLAs, and then the firehouse and machine shed and everything. Got a 30 kW Kohler stationary gas-powered, I should say, propane gas-powered generator that is wired through the transfer switch. So we're pretty good shape here. Great net tonight. AB0VX back in net control.
Alrighty, thank you, John. Appreciate you joining us. Alrighty, folks, that comes to the end. All we need now is the people that were late to the party or just missed their call sign. If you want to get in on the late and missed, please come with your call sign twice and slowly.
November 5, America, Quebec, Mexico, N5AQM. Kilo Juliet 5, Juliet November, Juliet, KJ5, JNJ.
Kilo Delta 5 uniform, KD5U.
Charlie Echo Victor, Kilo Juliet 5, Charlie Echo Victor.
Alrighty, we'll hold it up there for just a moment. We recognize KJ5 CEV James, KD5U John, KJ5 JNJ, Justin. KB8PLV, Chris in Novi, Michigan. We had N5AQM, Mike, and KE2FTG, Michael. Anyone else? Last call for the late and miss. Please come with your call sign twice.
CJM, W2, CJM.
Like a double with somebody. This is AC4BR, Alpha Charlie 4, Bravo Romeo.
Alrighty, the gavel has struck. I got AC4BR, Brian, Monticello, Kentucky. W2 CJM, Charles in Selden, New York. And was there a KE8 station, KE8U or something like that?
KO4 VTJ, Kilo Oscar 4, Victor Tango Juliet, Gilbert in Orlando.
Top of this list to run KE2FTG, Michael in Cornwall, New York. Question of the evening. Do you have auxiliary power in your ham shack? How often do you test? Nothing heard. Let's go to N5AQM, Mike in Chandler, Arizona. Good evening, Mike.
Hey, good evening, everybody on the net. N5AQM. Mike here in Chandler, Arizona. It was 106 degrees today here for the high, but it's still fairly dry, so it's not horrible. Anyway, yes, I do. I have, my whole shack is off the grid all the time. I've got 1,000 watts of, I got 4 250 watt, 36 volt solar panels, and out on my shed, and 400 amp hour LIFE PO4 batteries on the floor, and a 3,000 watt pure sine wave generator. Runs everything. I run my computers, monitors, charge batteries, charge my model airplane batteries, charge everything, even run a couple of lights back here, and I never run out of power. And all I got to do is run extension cords to the 2 freezers and the refrigerator, and I can run those 2 off of them indefinitely. So there you go, back to net. Hope everybody has a great night. N5AQM.
Alrighty, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you joining us. KB8PLV, Chris in Novi, Michigan. Good evening. Awful scratchy there, Chris, but thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. You have yourself a great evening. KJ5, JNJ, Justin in Conroe, Texas. Good evening.
Yes, good evening to you, and thanks for doing the net, KJ5JNJ. And I do have some backup power here. Solar generator that I've been working on for a little bit here as of recent. And before that, I had a gas generator. Well, I still have that, but now I'm trying to get the solar generator all beefed up and ready to serve. So, yes, sir, that's what I got going.
Alrighty, have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. KD5U, John in Willis, Texas. Good evening.
good evening, and thanks for running the net tonight. I used to have auxiliary power in the shack. I just recently moved my main QTH. So I've got generators and solar generators and batteries and solar panels all kind of in storage and not in use. So I need to get that all back out now that I've moved and get it all operational. So I'm temporarily not with auxiliary power. Thanks for running the net, KD5U. Back to you.
Well, we'll put you down for a yes because you do have it, but it's just not hooked up yet. Have a great evening, John. Thanks for joining us. Let's go out to Humble, Texas, to KJ5 CED. James, good evening.
Good evening here from Humble. Yeah, I have a tri-fuel generator, tested it a month or so, and everything else is on UPS. So back to that.
All righty, thank you, James. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, a W2 CJM, Charles in Selden, New York. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, Vicki. Yes, I have a couple of backup generators. Thanks for doing the net. Have a great night.
All right, thanks for stopping by. AC4 BR, Brian in Monticello, Kentucky. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, Vicki, and everybody on the net. I'm currently mobile at the moment, but hopefully I'm coming through fine. I guess technically I do have a UPS, but currently my limited equipment is at the office because I was doing some work after hours on it. So, but yes, technically when I get it back home, it'll be on a battery backup, so be all good there. Anyway, I'll turn it back over to you, Scott. I hope you all have a good night. This is AC4BR.
All right, thanks, Brian. Have a good evening. KE8UEM, Steve in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Good evening. KE8UEM, Stephen, are you there? Nothing heard. Let's end out tonight with KO4 VTJ, Gilbert in Orlando, Florida. Good evening.
My ham shack currently consists of an IC7300 and a little power supply table in the living room, right by the window where the antenna comes in. So now the only alternative I have Bio batteries I keep charged, and I carry one of them with me with a little 20-watt radio that I have in the car for doing parts on the air and stuff like that. So I guess that's my alternative energy option there. But okay. So I hope everybody's having a great evening, and thank you for doing the KO4 VPJ back to net control.
All right, thank you, Gilbert. And I've run my 7300 off a small 15 amp hour Bio battery and worked wonderful. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. And thanks to everybody that joined us tonight, whether you just stopped by and said hi, or had a question, or answered a question. On behalf of WB2JPQ, Dick in Eden, New York, K8VKY, Vicky on the log again tonight for us. This is W2BLT wishing everybody a great evening. 7-3. We now return the reflector to normal amateur use. This is W2BLT.